Welcome to day 5 of the WFDF World Ultimate Guts Championships wrap-up. On Daily Digest with me, Tom Styles, and I'm in here with our wonderful volunteers. I've got one of the volunteers here, Bear. Now, Bear, you were in the tents last night when the rains came down. Can you just describe what that was like?
Pretty terrifying, to be honest. Yeah, it sounded like there was a massive elephant stampede outside. It was pretty loud and wet.
And thunder and lightning as well.
Lightning, yeah, it was pretty bright as well. So it wasn't the best thing to sleep in, but we eventually got to sleep. Had to. Kind of had to get up pretty early, so.
And you guys have been busying yourselves around the site. Not very many spectators or games to look after, but what have you been doing around the site today?
Well, we score kept whatever games we could do and tried to keep dry mostly. But then we did a little bit of site cleaning, making sure everything was okay. We can't really do much when the pitches are this waterlogged, but we can do the best we can in trying to make sure the players are okay, all the other volunteers are okay, the staff's all right. The organisation's pretty incredible, and the leads have just done an amazing job in sorting out what they could do today. And yeah, they just did a fantastic job today. So.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Bear. You can go and watch the Guts videos that they're playing on the big screen. Exactly. And so that's been the story of the day, really. The weather has been terrible overnight. A lot of none of the spectators allowed to come on site. A lot of the teams not allowed to come on site. Only the top 8 from all the divisions have been here playing their games. And we've got Sean Colfer, who's here to tell us about the mixed division. Sean, how did it go in the quarterfinal stages?
So the quarterfinals all today, as you say. One of them, Colombia against Canada, was not competitive at all. Canada won 15-3. Very comfortable the whole way through, as the 15-3 score would indicate. Unfortunately for all the home fans, GB lost to France in something of an upset. There was a lightning break at 9-6 to France, but they came out. Both teams were quite intense, but France scored, I think it was 5 in a row, and really took the game away and won 15-8 in the end. The Philippines just finished the game against the United States. They went 2-0 up, and their long game was looking fantastic. The Philippines, I don't know if you've watched them or if anyone else has watched them, but they are fantastic to watch. They lay out all over the place. They take huge shots. There's absolutely no respect for their opponents in a good way. You know, they don't care what the opponent defense is going to do. They're going to play their game, and they really took it to the States. Gave them the biggest game so far, 15-9 to the States in the end. And the final one was Australia against Japan. It was 15-12, but no, 15-13. Sorry, but Australia were quite comfortable until Japan got 3 breaks near the end. But 15-13, Australia moved through to semis. Australia are going to play against the Australia are going to play against the United States against France, and Australia against Canada. That's who it is. So yeah, those are tomorrow to see who goes into the final.
So that's our semi-final wrap-up. Thank you very much, Sean, from the mixed division. Going to have Victoria Higgins join us now to give us a wrap-up of the women's division. Hi, Victoria.
Yeah, so today in the women's division, we saw a lot of games that just really weren't that close. The U.S. made very short work of the Swiss, 15-4. Canada added a layout Callahan to their defeat over Russia, 15-8. And Australia dug themselves a 6-1 hole that they really just couldn't get out of for the rest of the game, losing to Japan 15-6. And then in the closest game of the day, Colombia and Germany faced off. A lot of really athletic play from both teams, but Colombia just looked a little more comfortable with the disc, and they ended up winning the game 15-12. So tomorrow we will see Colombia face Japan, and the U.S. face off against Canada. I think in the Colombia-Japan game, Colombia are going to see a little bit of the play that they haven't seen from other teams so far. Another team that relies on agility and really moving the disc fast, so that should be a fun match to watch.
Okay, thank you very much, Victoria, for the women's division, the show game crew, keeping us up to date. And we're joined lastly by Ravi Vasudevan to bring us the up-to-date on the men's division.
Yeah, so men's division, we also had our quarterfinal rounds. Let's start. USA beat Colombia quite handily, 15-2. It was a total blowout. Then after that, Canada defeated Germany 15-12. It was actually a pretty close game, but Canada was pretty comfortable the whole way through. Germany did manage to get a break or two in that game, but yeah, Canada will take it. So then we'll have USA-Canada in one of the semifinals. 4 years ago, that was a Universe Point semifinal matchup, so we're all excited to see the two North American powerhouses go at it again. In the other half of the bracket, we have We had Japan take on Belgium. Belgium got 10 points on Japan, which is very good for them. They haven't really been on the world stage now, and they were really happy. They got one break in at the end of the game, and they're really happy about their game. They did lose to Japan 15-10, but it was great performance by the Belgians. So Japan will go into the semis, and they will take on Australia, who GB, again, a little bit of an upset, lost to Australia 15-11. That game just finished up. Great play by the Australians. They just came out firing, and they played just a much better game than GB. So Australia versus Japan, that'll be a really tall, hucking team versus a really small, disciplined, totally two different types of ultimates. That should also be a great game. So two great semis here in the Open Division tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Ravi. And I was on the sideline for that Belgium-Japan game, commentating on that one, and also heartbreak for Great Britain losing to the Aussies. Aussies played a great game. And we caught up after that match with Jamie Cross and Mike Neild from those two teams. So we're going to finish this show with that nice interview. Australia beating Great Britain to take their place in the semi-finals. Quarterfinals day is always a gutting time for some teams, and we've seen a real battle out here between the green and gold of Australia and Great Britain. I got Mike Neild and Jamie Cross out here, and Jamie, right from the start, these boys put you under some real pressure, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they came out really strong. They played a great game throughout and were really clinical from start to finish, and I think that was the difference today. They were able to capitalise on our errors and put them away, and we never really had enough to come back at them and get back in the game. There was a chance we could do it, but we could never get on a run of more than one break, and I think that's a credit to how clinical they were. It was a very still day, and I think their throwers took advantage and pulled out some great throws that really opened up the field from what we thought were tightly marked players. So a great job by them, and deserved winners.
So Mike, this game between these two teams, the ultimate ashes if you like, it goes back in history, but this was played under impeccable spirit from both sides, wasn't it?
Yeah, thanks Tom, and thanks Jamie, well said there. It was a fantastic game between two extremely proud and passionate nations, and I think the game was enriched by the fact that everyone wanted to win so much, but not beyond a point where we performed unacceptable levels of behaviour. It was a really clean, really positive, and really tenaciously honourable game, and I'm overjoyed to have played such a game with Great Britain, and I really think that it's groundwork for more wonderful, spirited games in the future.
What do you think was the difference between the two sides in the end, Mike? You obviously had a really tough game against USA earlier. Do you think that was a factor, the fact that you'd seen that really intense D?
Well, potentially, yeah. I mean, there was lots we learnt from that. Yeah, so I think maybe you're onto something there. We did change some things based on that game. We never play each other, and so, I mean, it happens once every 4 years type of deal. And so maybe we just happened to be a little more surprising, or some weird peculiarity of that lack of familiarity. And I also think we just got a bit lucky on a couple. Like, Great Britain just went for some stuff, and we went for some stuff, and it stuck for us, and it didn't quite. In some ways, it's the vicissitudes of sport that sometimes it just falls on the green and gold side of things.
Well, we wait for another matchup between these two sides with bated breath. It'll be an exciting one. Thank you, Jamie. I know it's very hard to come and talk after such a big game, a big loss, and it was one of the hardest games I've ever had to cover, to be fair to both sides and still give props to the Aussies when they took it down. So thank you very much to talk to you both. Yeah, cheers.
Thanks, Tom.
Good on you, Tom. Well done.
Well done, mate.
Cheers, Jamie.
Congratulations. Go get them. Yeah.
So that's the wrap up for this day. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back with semi-finals day on the Friday. Until then, I'll see you tomorrow.